And whose team is this? Is this your team, or is this your daddy's team?
Thanks for listening to the Dad Mode Podcast, common sense parenting in a politically correct world. Here's your host, Andy Carlson.
Welcome back to the Dad Mode Podcast, common sense parenting in a politically correct world. I'm your host, Andy Carlson, at Andy Carlson Show on the Twitter machine. I'm a father. I have no idea what I'm doing, but you're either there, Chiefy, so let's try and learn something together today. The website is dadmodepod.com. If you want to tweet the show, at dadmodepod, or just use the hashtag DadMode. Also like us on Facebook. We need your thumbs on there. Today, joined in studio with Uncle Nick, the godfather of Actually, what should we call you?
You want to come up with a nickname now after so many episodes?
Yeah. The Godfather of Soul.
I think that's taken already.
By who?
Some white guy. I have no idea.
Michael McDonald?
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't be there. Follow Nick on Twitter at NickASon. Hey, how's it going?
Going good. Yay, weekend. Yay.
Hey, happy weekend one and all. If you're in the Minnesota area, you probably missed the blizzard of 2017, which is pretty nice. Today, I want to talk about telling your kid no and the importance of it. We have a interesting video from Prager University that we'll play here in a second, but it's something that I was very cognizant of even before we had Muggsy, is that we talk about millennials, we talk about helicopter parenting, we talk about participation trophies, we talk about kids being spoiled and getting everything they wanted, and telling kids no sometimes plays a part into that. And you'll see that kids that are spoiled rotten, or the ones that are in charge, or the ones that only eat tacos and drink Mountain Dew even at 8 years old, because stop raising your hand, Nick. People can't see that. Because the parent is afraid to tell the kid no, or they want to be the kid's best friend as opposed to the parent. And when kids don't hear the word no, it really misshapes their outlook on life going forward.
I kind of find it shocking. I'd never, you don't think of something that is something as simple as saying no once in a while could make such a big difference. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's proven. You see a lot of kids nowadays are growing up to be little brats, and it might be because of a lot of what we learned in this video that you have. Well,
you see it a lot, and we can all think of a childhood friend or even a cousin that got everything. You know, they got the Super Nintendo, they got the Sega, they got the Xbox, they got all the new games right when they came out, and they were miserable. Like, generally, they were miserable, and also, I feel like they weren't content, and also they didn't value anything. Like, if they got a new bike, you know that thing was going to be sitting out in the driveway in the rain, getting rusted out because, their parents will buy them a new one. And I feel like that is some of the stigma that comes along with rich kids. Like, sometimes I feel like it's unfair. Like kids in Edina, Minnetonka, Wayzata, and you'll see it at hockey games when, like a public school like Apple Valley will play Minnetonka, and then the Apple Valley student section would be chanting "Daddy's money." I feel like that's a little unfair, because some of the parents may be good parents. They may tell the kids no. They make the kids work for things. But if a kid gets everything at their whim, they always get their way, they grow up to be spoiled little bratty adults that are never happy, because a big part of being happy is a sense of accomplishment. And if everything is handed to you and there's no, I don't want to say struggle, but no sense of earning anything or any sense of achievement, there's a lot of room for misery.
No, I completely agree with that. Do you remember the 90s movie Richie Rich?
I do. Also, I remember you getting your microphone close to your mouth.
You know what? I'm tired of you. You keep moving it. You come over here and you move it. There was the scenes in that movie where the kids, what's his name? Richie Rich, he's going to school and he's surrounded by spoiled rich kids who get everything and feel like they can undermine the waiting staff who's serving them. It's, you don't want your kids to grow up like that. Like they become little snobs.
Well, the thing is too is that the standard of living, because even families that are on welfare or like below the poverty line have a 60-inch TV nowadays, because you don't even have to be rich to spoil your kids. Like you can. Kids can always get new this and that for relatively cheap nowadays. And then also, just going into the dietary stuff, they can drink 6 sodas a day and eat nothing but tacos or pizza rolls. And that in a way is a form of not telling your kids no, not being like, no, we're gonna grill some chicken, we're gonna have some salad tonight, and we're gonna drink some tap water, as opposed to an 8-piece Colonel and then a 2-liter Coke. Sorry, Junior. That's what's going on. And that is part and parcel of kid always getting his way, and then you're out like $8. So even this isn't exclusively a rich kid issue. This is an every kid issue.
It gets hard to draw the line, I think, to see where the lines get blurred, because as of right now, we all know I do not have kids, so I like to spoil and treat my nieces and nephew and my goddaughter with the spoils of, things that they don't have. And I want them to be grateful. I want them to, I don't want them to be the snobby, rich kids who expect things all the time. So it's kind of like, are there rules? Is there like a guideline I have to follow to be able to give kids, because I want to, just to get kids stuff without without snobbing them,
Well, I think my whole rule of thumb is that even if you are very well off economically, you can always sort of artificially set up the kid where they have resistance, where it's like being a video game on easy setting. Like if you're very well off economically, which is awesome. You make great decisions in your life, but your kid is going to be playing a video game on easy unless you actively push it to medium or hard. So that means having the kid do chores for an allowance, and then in turn he uses that allowance to buy the toys, buy the treats, buy the whatever. That means striking a deal with your kid when they're 14 is that, hey, you get a job during the summers at the local grocery store, bagging groceries, which is a great starting job to have, or working at McDonald's, and you save up that money, and then we'll match whatever you save up, the summers of your 14 and 15-year-old summers, and then we'll match that for a car when you turn 16. I think small things like that, small lessons where you're instilling work ethic, where it's very clear to the kid that, hey, if you want something in this country, America, you have to go out and kill your own breakfast. There's no such thing as a free lunch. You go out and earn everything that you get. And, you can do that if you're a rich family, whatever family. It's just good morals and a good work ethic to instill.
Interesting. Can you tell modern adults who've had too many yeses and no? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, God, yeah.
Am I a yes or no kid? Was I a yes kid or a no kid?
Oh, you were a yes kid.
That sounds right.
And see, that's the thing about it, too, is like some kids that were born in that sort of zero gravity thing where they're never told no, they can turn out to be normal adults. You are not one of them, but no, I'm just kidding.
What?
And you can also have shitty kids that were raised the right way and it just doesn't quite work out. But let's get into this video. So it's what this is PragerU. Dennis Prager, he's a conservative radio host, and they have these cool videos at PragerU.com and also on YouTube. Lots of topics, some political, some family-oriented, some economics. It's good stuff. I recommend check it out. This one is called, Is Your Child Getting Enough Vitamin N?
I want to tell you about an essential vitamin you've probably never heard of. If you're a parent or...
this guy's name is John Rosemond, author and family psychologist. Also, he looks like...
the Crypt Keeper?
I was going to say the Nazi dude from X-Men, Days of Future Past. Maybe not.
Plan to be one. It might be more important to your child's growth than all other vitamins combined.
They got rickets.
And only you, a parent, can provide it.
Johnny's got rickets.
I call it vitamin N. The word no.
No.
More and more children, I find, are suffering from vitamin N deficiency. And they, their parents, and our entire culture are paying the price. Let me illustrate my point with a story that's quite typical. A father, I'll call him Bill, gave his son, age 5, pretty much everything the little boy asked for.
Bike, laptop,
like most parents,
guitar,
Bill
phone.
wanted more than anything for his son to be happy.
Yeah.
But he wasn't. Instead, he was petulant, moody, and often sullen.
Give me more
He was
bikes.
also having problems getting along with other children. In addition, he was very demanding and rarely, if ever, expressed any appreciation, let alone gratitude
Also,
for all the things Bill and his wife were giving him.
There's great graphics
was
on
his
these
son
too, so
depressed?
I recommend
Bill
checking the
wanted
video.
to know. Did he need therapy? His
Does he need
son,
Xanax?
I told him, was suffering the predictable ill effects of being overindulged. What he needed was a healthy and steady dose of vitamin N.
Oh, they made a cartoon version of him
Overindulgence,
too.
a deficiency of vitamin N, leads to its own form of addiction. When the point of diminishing returns is passed, and it's passed fairly early on,
It looks like the bad
the
guy
receiving
from
of
Saw.
things begins to generate
movies.
nothing
Not
but
bad guy.
want for more things.
Mas.
One terrible effect of this is that our children are becoming accustomed to a material standard that's out of kilter with what they can ever hope to achieve as adults. Consider also that many, if not most, children attain this level of affluence not by
He's on drugs.
working, sacrificing, or doing their best, but by whining, demanding, and manipulating.
Bam.
So in the process of inflating their material expectations, we also teach children that something can be had for next to nothing. Not only is that a falsehood, it's also one of the most dangerous, destructive attitudes a person can acquire.
Dun, dun, dun.
This may go a long way
Besides
toward
radiation
explaining
poisoning.
why the mental health of children in the 1950s, when kids got a lot less, was significantly
ball in
better
a
than the
paddle.
mental health of today's kids.
Ball in the cup.
Since the 50s, and especially in the last few decades, as indulgence has become the parenting norm, the rates of child and teen depression have skyrocketed.
Dun, dun, dun.
Children who grow up believing in the something for nothing fairy
I blame
tales
TV.
are
For
likely
free.
to become emotionally stunted, self-centered
douchebag adult.
adults.
That's
then,
me.
when they themselves become parents, they're likely to overdose their children with material things. The piles of toys, plushies, and gadgets one
No.
finds scattered around most households. In that way, overindulgence, a deficiency of vitamin N, becomes an inherited disease. An addiction passed from one generation
Get
to
up,
the
come on,
next.
get down with the sickness.
This also explains why children who get too much of what they want rarely take proper care of anything they have.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Why should they? After all, experience tells them that more is always on the way.
Yeah, no, stop that. So the example that we had earlier about the kid always getting a new bike and that thing's going to be sitting out in the rain and getting rusty as shit. If you have a kid where, say that they do a bike route or they do a lemonade stand or something where they're earning some sort of cash and they save up and say a new bike's like $200 or $300. I don't know how much bikes cost nowadays. And they save up $100. You match that for $100. You go to the store and you buy that. That's going to stick out in the kid's mind as a very happy day. And also, they'll take pride in that bike. That thing's going to be in the garage every single night. That bike's going to be locked up in all the public places, and that thing's going to be taken care of. You know, like that chain's going to be oiled. Everything's going to be up to date on that bike because the kid has earned it. The kid's got pride in it. But this jabroni's talking about here is like, hey, if you just keep piling on new stuff for the kid and upgrade every single year, it's like, oh, well, I guess my bike got stolen because I forgot to lock it up at school. Oh, well, I'll just get a new one. That's a bad attitude to set.
I question this video where I think it's a little fast to judge if current kids now, like my age, if I grew up being a person who hasn't heard the word no, if I have a kid, do I think I'll spoil my kids with...
Well, it's
I wonder if that's...
I don't think it's too much of a stretch because they'll take their parenting cues from their parents, and it's like, oh, my parents showed me love by just getting me a whole bunch of stuff, and so that must be the way that things work, right? So I'll just give my kid a whole bunch of stuff and never tell them no.
Well, I'd like to think that like it'd be almost a negative reaction. Maybe the kid who goes up, who receives everything, maybe he's like, I'm going to turn it around and say no all the time. Almost like a reverse psychology type of thing, kind of like
I think this is more predictive of future behavior. Not like if your dad's an alcoholic, and then Junior never touches the drop, sort of deal.
I want to believe that later one.
Oh, because you don't want your kids to be spoiled.
Yeah.
Well, it could also become a maturity thing too. Like you could have a kid that's spoiled, rotten as a kid, but then as they adult become cognizant and self-aware that it's like, oh, that kind of screwed me up a little bit. And we're going also, if they get a partner, wife or husband that is from a more of a no parenthood, and then they bring that into the relationship. So that's perfectly possible.
Before you hit play, they're talking about how these kids are all why do we give kids anything, to make them happy? These kids look so depressed.
Well, that's what I want to do with Margaret is that we'll get you a couple big ticket items, except you take care of those things, and also you're going to find ways to earn them, outside of Christmas and birthday. Oh, and by the way, it's not going to be 17 gifts on Christmas and your birthday. It's going to be one big item and maybe a couple side things. But you've seen kids on Christmas that they get the brand new iPhone, they get a pair of Beats, they get the hoverboard thing. I'm like, holy crap, that's like $500 at least worth of crap on Christmas.
I don't know. Using Christmas as an example,
it's like 3 years worth of stuff from when I was a kid.
It's weird because going through like kids and seeing them grow up, and many who are like young spoiled brats. Like if you're not going to be good, Santa's not going to get you much for Christmas, and then
that's
no matter what, you get spoiled anyway. Yeah. I feel like there's no for a lot of this generation, there's no winning. It's just
oh my god.
I don't think people are going to get.
I vaguely remember a commercial for. Not a commercial, but an episode of 2020 back in the day. You remember 2020?
Oh, yeah.
The Barbara Walters, Hugh Downs. It is the story of this like 11 or 12-year-old kid divorcing his parents and going through a legal system. And his one of his main talking points was, well, they wouldn't buy me a Nintendo. So he's divorcing his parents. So he's clogging up the legal system with that bullshit.
How can he afford legal representation?
I don't know. It's probably some bullshit lawyer that was doing it pro bono just to get attention.
Do you remember the movie North?
No.
Did you ever see the movie North? Like Elijah Wood's first major movie. It was.
Wasn't it terrible? Wasn't it the downfall of Rob Reiner?
I thought it was an excellent movie. It kind of just pointed to the fact that the character's name was North. Problem one.
Peter North.
He thought that his parents didn't love or care about him, so he got his rich friend to sponsor money to get a lawyer so he could divorce his parents, and he had to go see other the movie was about him visiting other parents and stuff and learning, his parents are actually fine. He just doesn't realize,
that seems dumb. The Hobbit's dumb.
Watch the trailer after the show. We'll talk about it.
Children deserve better. They deserve to have parents attend to their needs for protection, affection, and direction.
Oh, a lot of shuns. I always like when they do that. It's like when Jesse Jackson talks about racism, placism, and homeostatism. That's what he just did. But the thing about it is that parents are trying to give their kids a better life. They're trying to, maybe they didn't have too many materialistic things as when they were a kid, so they're trying to give their kid everything that they didn't have growing up, which is a very common thing in parenting. But also, some of it could be I don't really want to spend time with you, so here's an iPad.
That's the moral of the story here, folks. I don't really love you. I don't want to do things with you. Here's something. Well, now go away. I'm playing with my own thing. That's the thing. I think adults nowadays are turning into I'm the breadwinner. I'm buying my own iPad. I'll get my kid a little iPad so I don't have to deal with it.
We're both going to be on iPads.
Beyond that, they deserve to hear their parents say no far more often than yes when it comes to their whimsical desires.
Daddy, can I have a unicorn?
They deserve to learn the value of constructive creative effort as opposed to the value of effort expended whining, lying on the floor, kicking and screaming, or playing one parent against the other. They deserve to learn that work is the only truly fulfilling way of getting anything of value in life.
Yeah. Oh,
you're not going to get a unicorn. I'm sorry, that's a bad example. There's no such thing as unicorns.
Yeah, we keep pausing because I never want Muggsy or our future kids to think that, hey, if I cry, if I whine, if I play the victim, if I throw a tantrum here, I'll get my way. That is such a piss poor way of thinking that it will get reinforced if you give in. And I understand it can be tough sometimes, and occasionally just buying the toy or giving them the soda or whatever is the easiest way to shut them up. But then that gets reinforced, that gets extrapolated as an adult, and then all of a sudden you have people who, when they don't get their way, they cry and scream and kick and yell. And where have we seen examples of that in adults recently? I don't know.
I think I know. It's hard with Muggsy's adorable. I mean, how do you say no to that? I'm sorry.
Easily, because she looks just like me. People say no to me all the time.
I'm not gonna say anything.
And that the harder they work, the more ultimately fulfilling the outcome. In the process of trying to protect children from frustration, parents have turned reality upside down. A child raised in this topsy-turvy fashion may not have the skills needed to stand on his or her own 2 feet when the time comes to do so. Here's a simple rule. Turn your children's world right side up by giving them all of what they truly need, but no more than 25% of what they simply want. I call this the principle of benign deprivation.
Benign deprivation.
When all is said and done, the most character-building 2-letter word in the English language is
C.
No.
Oh.
Vitamin N. Dispense it frequently. You'll be happier in the long run, and so will your child.
Sounds so cheesy.
I'm John Rosemond, author and family psychologist for Prager University.
To subscribe to our
cheesy Vitamin N.
He brings up a lot of good points, though.
Oh, no. I liked a lot of things that he said. It made me think of the TV show Titus, how they talked about families who struggle seem to come out stronger in the end. It's, I don't know, something at the end when he said kind of reminded me of that, and I agree.
All right, so here's the trailer for North.
Life is what parents are. You dealt the hand, you stuck
Elijah
with.
Wood.
Pants, that's what I know. I know pants. All kinds of pants.
Costanza. Oh, my God. His parents are Costanza and Julie Louis-Dreyfus?
Yep.
What the hell?
Neither of them were... This is not Seinfeld.
Wait, were they in Seinfeld yet? Well, 94.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were.
Yeah. All right, proceed.
It's not like baseball, where if you don't like the deal you have with one team, you can become a free agent and try to get a better deal with another team.
You hear the voice?
You want my advice? Go home, make up, and goodbye.
What's up, Bruce Willis?
What a scoop! I keep becoming
Wait, so he's listening to Bruce Willis?
Going around offering his services as a devoted son to the highest bidding set of parents. I'm proud of you, kid. You got a lawyer?
Let's get cracking.
He is not
John Lovitz,
physically in the arms of either his new parents or his original parents by noon on Labor Day, he will be remanded to an orphanage. And if any of you has ever seen the little rascals...
Alan Arkin with hair. He looked old back then.
No day at the beach.
So North was on his way to find the perfect parents.
Well, hey, howdy, North. I know what you're thinking.
Dan Aykroyd and Reba.
Big call, right? Everything I own's the biggest and the best. That's why we'd like you to become our son.
Here you go, North. Nice.
And I'm going to sodomize the shit out of you.
Cup of hot cocoa. And to go with that, our steak
That's
dish,
Inuits.
Eskimo pie.
Well, hey, what do you know? The salmon are running.
Sure, living in Paris would be great. But there's always a hitch.
They only have
Meanwhile,
cheerleaders.
things were heating up at home.
Just because you were born 25 years before me doesn't make you smart.
Pincus.
It doesn't make you right. It just makes you old.
Aren't I naughty.
It just makes you smell worse.
So now it scares all the other
You realize
parents.
North will never pull this off.
He's not. He can do anything.
His folks are gonna fight it.
Of course they are. They're not going to take this lying down.
God damn it! Now we have to watch this movie.
Hang in there, kid. You'll find what you're looking for.
Hey, it's you.
Holy Bruce
Trust
Willis.
me, I'm not me.
What are you?
What? No. Bruce Willis is dead in this movie too. That's why he's in all the places.
You got to watch the movie.
Bruce Willis is dead, and the end of North.
Some kind of guardian angel?
The Easter Bunny.
This movie was panned by critics. I thought it was an excellent movie. Good lessons to learn, and I don't know. They kind of underplayed the main plot of the thing. Is that with North doing this thing, he's scaring other parents whose kids are going to threaten to sue and leave them, and the parents are like, "Oh no, we don't want you to leave here. You take all the candy, you take all this stuff and everything."
Wait, so North is the reason that we got a generation of spoiled little shits nowadays?
I believe so.
Yeah,
it all started back in '94. I feel like that makes sense.
Anyways, I think I have a good setup with the wife and Muggsy because she's the one who usually says no. She gets to play the bad guy, which is gravy for me. But yeah, the whole getting into like the kid not eating their vegetables or mouthing off or just wanting every single materialistic thing under the sun, it's not going to happen.
It's hard though. I mean, as I said, you got to set guidelines with everyone though who's involved. Like favorite Uncle Nick, who like, oh my God, Margaret, I saw all these beautiful clothes for you. Here you go. I have to check with you and make sure okay, which ones can we give her on her birthday? Which ones so and so.
Yeah. It's almost like if you have enough friends and family around and you got kids, you're almost off the hook for Christmas and birthday gifts. Because no matter how much you scale it back, or if you get a couple of big ticket items, like the grandparents and the aunts and uncles and then the godparents are just going to come in and spoil the shit out of the kid anyway. So, I don't know, maybe this is all moot. Maybe just say yes and have my kid grow up to be just a spoiled turd.
I also want to say that the movie North, one of the first roles for Scarlett Johansson.
Hey, that is also a name. Nick, what's coming up from you?
I think for Bull, we're going to talk about the Oscars this weekend. I'm pretty excited for that.
Yeah, do that up. Subscribe to Bull on iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and at bullshow.co. 5 days a week. Nick's on a couple of them, also mixing in some pretty interesting interviews. Minnesota's 87th best daily podcast. Sometimes about sports, usually not. Yeah. With this show, tell a friend, spread the word in your mommy and daddy groups because you run out of things to talk about. And, also say no to your kids. Or they'll end up like Elijah Wood, the Hobbit. Do you want your kid to be a Hobbit? Nah, I don't think so. This show is available on iTunes, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio as well. Follow us on Twitter at DadMoPod, Nick at Nickason, me at Andy Carlson Show, and the website is dadmopod.com. But until next time, be a man, be a father, go Dad Mode, and we'll smell you later.
Think the episode you just heard is worth $1? Well, send it our way. Visit dadmodepod.com/support to find out how. Be a man. Be a father. Go Dad Mode. The music is created and produced by Deeb. To hear more of his tracks, visit soundcloud.com/Deeb.